That's why. Okay. I'll piss off on you too. Hello, everybody. Hello, Adele. Hello, the artsy nurse. Hello, sassy girl. Okay, so I was actually reading on my phone earlier tonight about what is going on in Russia. And a lot of people have been asking what is going on over there right now with companies pulling out. Like what companies have been pulling out, what companies are pulled out, and what companies are stayed. Now, I know this is different than my usual bitch fest content, but I thought that this would be more important with my time right now, considering what is going on. And I'm just going to make one thing very clear and apparent that not only is the world dealing with refugees from Ukraine, Russians are also leaving in troves out of Russia because of all the sanctions that are going on. Yeah, a lot of Russians are leaving the Russian Federation, believe it or not. I did not know that. So we are going to get into this. I have said everything up, believe it or not. I have. I'm actually on part of it. I'm actually on top of it. So we know that McDonald's has left. Coca-Cola has left as well. And Pepsi has actually left as well. Burger King is also gone. Pizza Hut is gone. But I like this article here because this proves how unrealistic Putin is with the Russian Federation and what his people are actually capable of doing. Apparently, Putin has his ass up his head at the moment, and I just want to take this part right here. Bear in mind, in Russian Federation, more than half the country is pro-Putin, he said. Many are just laughing at these companies leaving. They declare with bravado, take your Coke and your Pepsi, we can make our own too. But Petrovsky Stern said more sober Russian observers know that Russia failed to produce decent quality mass consumption products. And they say, yes, after the companies flee and we start producing things of our own, we will become consuming Coca-Cola, which essentially means crap cola. And they're actually right. The Russian Federation hasn't really created anything. Yes, that is true. Russia is also threatening not to return the astronauts. And I will be covering that as well, because in that article, Russia has stated that they will let the Internet space station crash into the earth. Think of the global consequences if that happens. Think of what will happen when the International Space Station crashes into Earth. It doesn't have to hit a landmass in order to be deadly. It can hit in the middle of the ocean and still be as deadly as hitting land. The experts weighed in as the trickle of Western companies abandoning Russia turned in a torrent this week, with Goldman Sachs on Thursday becoming the first Wall Street bank to exit the Russian market. Burger King, Crocs, and Hugo Boss on Thursday joined the growing list of retailers and fast food companies that are closing their stores or ceasing operations in Russia. While the Hilton hotel chain shut its corporate offices in Moscow, and here's a real good kicker. Sony and Nintendo have announced that they will stop. They said they would, but that was a past tense word, so I have to use the correct term. Sony and Nintendo announced that they will stop selling video games and consoles in the country for the foreseeable future. This means that the Russian Federation is going to be hard pressed to find entertainment outside of the Russian Federation sphere. The Walt Disney Company announced on Thursday that it was halting all business in Russia after making the decision last week to just pause the release of films there. So even the Walt Disney Company is saying, screw you, Putin, we're going. Now, here's where things get very interesting. And this is why I wanted to actually do this. There's actually another article that we will go over. But this is very interesting for me. For the Russians who were around when the Cold War officially ended in 1991 and Moscow started opening up economically to the West, the decision by Yum Brands to shutter its Pizza Hut restaurants was especially poignant. Many still remember the 1998 commercial that featured Mikhail, I'm not even going to say that one, the Russian leader who presided over the final days of the old Soviet Union, having a slice with his granddaughter at a Moscow Pizza Hut and being saluted by his fellow Russian diners, the expert said. Putin, in a meeting Thursday with his economic advisors, acknowledged the unfriendly steps taken toward Russia, particularly the U.S. ban on Russian oil imports that President Joe Biden announced Thursday, but Putin vowed to soldier on and said Russians would adapt to the new circumstances. Okay, they're not unfriendly. You declared war. Let me rephrase this. You did a surprise invasion on Ukraine. You lied to the world powers that you had no intention of invading Ukraine, yet you decided to do it anyways. Okay? Your actions of what you are doing are punishing the people of Russia. The world is not punishing the people directly. They're punishing them indirectly by punishing you. They're making it known that they are pulling out because of your poor choices. Now, I'm sorry to say, Russia hasn't really made anything worthwhile to adapt to the new circumstances. And I do know that China has even turned its back on Putin. Even China has stated that they will not send anything to Russia. So take that as you will. We all know that China has a friendly relationship with Russia, but you know something's fucked up when China has said, oh, we ain't even gonna deal with this fuck shit. Okay? You on your own with this fuck shit. Yeah. Pretty much China gave the Russian Federation the big F you. And what that was about was Russia needs airplane parts to keep their airlines afloat, and China practically told them, nope, not doing it. Nope, your planes can crash and burn. We ain't doing a damn thing to help you. Which I think is more than, more than adequate. The new circumstances is you are alienating your own country again. You are literally alienating them. We have no doubt that we will keep up our work and resolve these in normal mode, Putin insisted, and gradually people will adjust and understand there are no issues we cannot resolve. Once again, you are lying to yourself and your own people. You haven't really made anything worthwhile. Your economy is literally what is it? It's oil, I think gas, and I also think minerals as well. I think those are the top three. But if nobody is going to be willing to trade with you, you have no economy. You have nothing. If people are putting sanctions against your country, nobody is going to buy your crap. So you can sit there and say anything that you want. But like I said, if there are sanctions against your country, if companies are feeling pressured to leave, your people and your own country are the ones that are going to miss out. And it's your people that are going to pay for your ignorance and stupidity. Now we're going to continue on because I want this just keeps getting interesting more and more, the more and more. How Russians react to the exit of the big Western companies like Starbucks and Pepsico depends both on demographics and how they get their news, the expert said. So people aged 55 and up in Russia tend to get their information from TV and radio, which are wholly controlled by the Kremlin. Russians are now living in a country where the newspapers can't even call what's going on in Ukraine. A war and in Ukraine, a war and where Putin controls everything that people see on TV and the radio. Their reaction is likely to be more along the lines of good riddance. They're not real Russians anyways. But you have to remember that younger Russians grew up with McDonald's and Pepsi, and they really like these brands. They're iconic brands. They're not just American brands. And younger Russians get their news from outlets not controlled by the Kremlin. Now, I have to agree, this is a big disconnect because the younger generation knows what's going on. The people that are above a certain age are the people that are going to be left behind. They have the old mentality that Russia is, the motherland. Russia is great and powerful. But the younger generation knows that that's not the case. And this is really sad because as I read onto this, you'll understand this comment I'm going to make. People who are 55 and up cannot easily move to a different country. They're pretty much set in their ways and they have to deal with the aftermath, whatever that is. And this aftermath is not going to end next week. It's not going to end next year. This is going to be an ongoing aftermath. And people that are above a certain age range are not going to have the time, they're not going to have the energy, they're not going to have the patience to rebuild. Therefore, the situation for them is going to get a whole lot worse. To them, the departure of a McDonald's will reinforce the feeling that Russia has become an international pariah and is likely to generate a certain amount of shade. NBC News on Wednesday reported that Russians, particularly Putin political opponents, fearing that a new Iron Curtain was descending on their homeland, were doing what more than 2 million Ukrainians have already done: flee their country. This is what I mean by that whole thing being out of whack. The older generation is stuck where they are. The younger generation has the means, they have the energy, they have the gusto to move away. They had the power to say, screw you, I'm not dealing with this. Y'all want to deal with Putin? You can clean up your own damn mess. With younger generations leaving Russia now, that is not a good sign for people above a certain age in Russia. Like I said, when you get up there in years, you don't have the same amount of oomph that you had when you were younger. So the people that are above a certain age are going to find that their lives in New Russia is going to be a lot worse than it was under the Iron Curtain. Because remember, with the Iron Curtain, they actually had younger generations to keep going. The younger generations now are leaving, which means that the people left behind are going to have to pick up those pieces. But it's not just the never Putiners who are getting out of Russia, the expert said. It's also middle class Russians for whom the shuttering or departure of U.S. and other Western businesses was a signal to get out. Russians, Petrovsky said, particularly those born after 1990, are used to having access to Western goods and Western services, and they are alarmed beyond measure. They do not want to find themselves in yet another Korea, he said. One of the biggest stories that is not being reported is about thousands of middle class Russians who are voting with their feet and fleeing the country for Kazakhstan, Armenia, I'm not pronouncing that one, and Georgia, because they fear losing their standard of living and fear of being drafted into a fight in this war they don't want. The Russians who can't leave are heading to stores like IKEA and Gucci and buying anything they can before these companies completely disappear from the market, Petrovsky said. Those middle class Russians understand what is really going on. They know their money will soon be worthless, and this is their last chance to get these items. Schmidt said for the younger Russians in particular, the departure of a company they grew up with, like McDonald's or Pizza Hut or Adidas, conjures up memories of the grim existence their parents and grandparents lived through. It will signal to them a return to the old Soviet Union, a time and place younger Russians have only heard about, he said. Now, like I said, people that are people that are going to be left behind are going to be left in a new country that is probably going to be worse than the USSR. Literally. With everybody pulling out as they are right now, I really don't see their economy bouncing back even if Putin ends the war. The damage is done. Okay, the damage is done. And I don't see anybody trusting Putin if he pulls out of Ukraine. I think that trust with him is gone. I think the only way that anything could get settled remotely is if Putin is actually literally forced out of office. But it's really disconcerting that his ego is allowing his own people to suffer. His own ego is allowing them to suffer. Now, I'm going to go to the other link that I have because, like I said, this is very interesting. So, this is actually a fluid list, okay? It doesn't list all of them, but it does list um, a lot of companies that have already pulled out. British American Tobacco has pulled out. Deutsche Bank is winding down business and may eventually pull out. YouTube said it would globally block all channels associated with Russian state-funded media, including RT and Sputnik, citing a violation of its policy of denying, minimizing, or trivializing well-documented violent cases. The company also said it would remove others' videos about Russia's invasion of Ukraine that violate the policy. It had previously been blocking videos from state media in Europe. Now, here we go. Here are the consumer goods so far that have left. Uniqlo, which is a Japanese clothing company, has suspended. Unilever, which owns Dove, Sunsilk, has suspended all imports and exports to Russia. IKEA also suspended all operations in Russia, although they will continue to operate their major chain, Mega, in Russia to ensure that customers have access to essentials. TJ Maxx and Marshalls promised to divest its equity partnership in Familia, an off-price retailer with more than 400 stores in Russia. H&M, which had about 170 stores in Russia, paused sales, as did Nike with about 116 stores. Canada Goose, which is based in Toronto, will cease wholesale and e-commerce sales to Russia. Adidas said it would suspend sales in Russia, cutting 1% from its expected revenue growth this year. The company has about 500 stores in Russia and the former Soviet states. Here's where things even get more interesting, and with gas prices, you might wanna, yeah. Shell is exiting its joint ventures with Gazprom, the Russian natural gas giant. BP will sell its nearly 20% stake in Rosneft, the Russian state-controlled oil company, and ExxonMobil will end its involvement in a large oil and natural gas project. Finance. Like I said, the Dutch bank is in the process of winding down their remaining business and was helping its clients reduce operations in the country. Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs, sorry, is the first big bank to exit the country. Western Union will suspend its operations in Russia and Belarus. The consulting firm Bain said it would not work with any Russian business and had put a policy in place in 2020 to not work for the Russian government at any level, central, state, or departmental. McKinsey and Company said it would not take on any new work in Russia and would stop work for state-owned entities and will no longer serve any government entity in Russia. Boston Consulting Group will not take on any new clients in Russia and has started to wind down work where possible and will not take on any new work, it said. McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group said they did not have any contracts with the central government. American Express, MasterCard, and Visa cards issued by Russian banks will not work in other countries, and cards issued elsewhere will not work for purchases in Russia. This is a big financial hit right here. This alone is the biggest financial hit that the Russians will have, because now none of their cards will work outside of Russia, and our cards will not work in Russia. That was the biggest single economically hit that they could have delivered to Russia. Citigroup, which has about 3,000 employees in Russia, said it would assess our operations in the country. Citi's consumer division in Russia is running limited operations, and the business is for sale as part of a broader exit from overseas markets announced last year. The Big Four accounting firm, Deloitte, EY, KPMG, and PwC, are pulling out of the country. Restaurant Brands International, which owns Burger King, is ending corporate support for the roughly 800 locations operated by local franchisees in Russia and will not approve any additional investment or expansion. Mars, the makers of M&M and Snickers, has suspended new investments in Russia. Little Caesars is suspending all operations at Russian stores, which are owned by franchisees. I don't care. I don't like Little Caesars. You can stay in Russia. I don't like your pizzas. You can stay over there for all I care. Yeah, you can stay over in Russia, okay? Just leave the other markets, Little Caesar. You can just stay over there. Your pizza's crap. Sorry, but your pizza is crap. Don't like you. Go away. Carlsberg, the world's third largest brewer, said it had halted investments and would stop selling its flagship beer brand in Russia. The Carlsberg Group's Baltica breweries, based in St. Petersburg, will be run as a separate business. Heineken said it would stop producing, advertising, and selling beer in Russia. McDonald's said it was temporarily closing its nearly 850 locations in Russia and halting operations there. Starbucks said it was closing all of its locations in Russia, where they are owned and operated by the Kuwaiti conglomerate Alshaya Group. Pepsico said it would stop selling soda in Russia, but would continue to produce dairy and baby food products there, calling it a humanitarian effort. Actually, you know what? I can agree with that. Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. You know you know what? That's a necessary need. Soda isn't a necessary. So you know what? I can support PepsiCo. Still producing dairy products and baby food products. I can support that. Yum Brands is closing 70 company owned KFC restaurants and all 50 franchise owned Pizza Hut restaurants. This gets, like I said, this is a fluid list. So that means that as the days go by, more and more can be added to the list. These are what's added right now. Netflix suspended its service and halted future projects in the country. The Walt Disney Company, Sony, and Warner Brothers paused the release of movies in Russia. Disney also paused all of its business operations in the country. Google suspended advertising, including on its search and YouTube products. But like I said, YouTube said it would globally block all channels associated with the Russian state-funded media. Sony, the makers of the video game console PlayStation, said it had suspended all software and hardware shipments to Russia, as well as operation of the PlayStation Store in the country. Don't want to be a Russian right now. Amazon Web Services has stopped accepting new customers for its cloud computing services. Microsoft and Apple paused sales. IBM suspended operations. Cogent and Lumen, which provide so-called backbone internet services, cut off access. Uber said it was trying to accelerate its divestment from the Russian internet company Yandex, which operates a ride-hailing service. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Sorry, I needed a drink. Ugh. Hyatt and Hilton, the hotel chain, suspended development work in the country, and Hilton closed its corporate office in Moscow. Amidas and Sabre, which provide ticket sales technology to airlines, cut ties with Aeroflot, the national flag carrier and the largest airline in Russia. UPS, FedEx, and DHL have suspended shipments to and from operations within Russia and Belarus. Airbus and Boeing have suspended the supply of parts, maintenance, and technical support services to Russian airlines. Boeing also said it had stopped buying titanium from Russia, a key source of the metal for the aerospace industry. American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines cut ticket sales partnerships with Russian airlines. All three airlines also stopped flying over Russia. Stellantis, the maker of Jeep, Fiat, and I'm not even pronouncing that word, vehicles, has suspended imports and exports. Caterpillar, which makes construction and earth moving equipment, is pausing manufacturing in Russia. Hitachi, the Japanese industrial company, said it was suspending exports to Russia and pausing manufacturing. You know what, Lisa? You are here. I need to do something for you. There you go. Lisa, please type something in the chat. Hello, Selfie Queen Cindy. I'm gonna look this up real quick, but Lisa, I need you to type something. Um, okay. So, you know me, I'm all about the proof. All about the proof. All about the proof. I like my proof. I need Chrome tab. There it is. Okay. Okay. So, Volkswagen owners of Hyundai Skoda said it has decided to stop production at its Kaluga and Nizhny Novgorod plants. German car makers Mercedes-Benz, Group AG, and Volkswagen AG are stopping exports of vehicles to Russia and are ceasing Russia-based production until further notice, as a rising number of companies withdraw business from the country after it invaded Ukraine. Wow. Okay, so Lisa, I thank you for for sharing that info with me. But yeah, so it's getting really, 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 really bad over there. In fact, it got bad to worse. You know it's getting worse when American Express, MasterCard, and Visa tell you that your card is only valid in one country, and if you're out of country, your credit card will not work in Russia. You know you're screwed. I mean, literally, you know you're screwed. There you go, Lisa. How do you like having a wrench? Well, as the list gets updated, I'll keep everybody updated too. Um, but this is what needed to be brought up, because there are a lot of people that don't watch the news, and if they do watch the news, you know they're not getting much out of it. So I hope I answered at least some of the questions. Like I said, it's really getting bad in Russia, and it's just going to get worse. It's going to get bad. It's literally going downhill overnight. I mean, when Boeing, the largest airplane manufacturer in the world, says that it's not going to buy titanium from you anymore, you know you fucked up. I mean, all these companies are pulling out on their own volitions. Countries have given sanctions to Russia, but these companies are pulling out on their own. And like people have said in my chat, this is going to be worse than the USSR. They're literally turning their country back before 1917. We remember what happened in 1917 with the Russian Revolution. It's going to be even worse. Oh my God, Jonesy is awake. Good Lord. I need something. Now, yeah, you know what? Everybody has nukes. We have nukes. Israel has nukes. I think Britain has them. I think even Europe, the countries in Europe have nukes. If he's going to use a nuke, it's going to be a nuclear winter all year long. Okay, it's just going to be a nuclear winter. Well, Lisa, I'm glad that you are informed. I wish more people were as informed as you are. Unfortunately, in this day and age, you have all the information at your hand, but yeah. So okay, whatever that was. Okay, but yeah. So this was my stream for tonight. I might be back a little bit later. I might. I don't know. But I hope that you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and if you want to, leave a comment with your thoughts on what is happening over in Russia and Ukraine. I hope you all have a great evening, and I shall see you next time. You all have a great evening. I appreciate you coming too. I love my subs. I do. I love all my subs.